Awesome. Well, hey, Scott, thank you so much for taking some time just to be a part of the daily dose of the gospel, just helping to give people a word of encouragement to stay grounded in Jesus. And I know I sent you a couple questions just to review ahead of time, but just wanted to start off with a question. Just how have you and your family been adjusting to all the changes due to the coronavirus?
Yeah, it's been interesting. The biggest thing for us is it's just establishing that new routine. Um, it was with the kids learning at doing the schooling at home. There was an adjustment period for them with that. They've gotten established with a routine. The teachers have been great for reaching out to help them. Um, the other thing is for us to be able to um, you know just for Audrey and I to be able to spend time together. To We have a routine of just getting out and going for walks. We got the bikes set up in the basement, exercising, also reading. Being in the Word has helped. What does God have to say to us today? So there have been some adjustments we've made. Over the years, we've prepared. To have just be prepared financially for setbacks. Also, be prepared. Food wise, so that's helped reduce some anxiety of, okay, we're okay with not going to the store this week. So that's helped us. But really, just getting set with that new routine.
Yeah.
You hear people say it's the new normal, and so that's helped us out quite a bit.
No, that's great. No, thanks for sharing. And the other question is just, and what have you guys found the most difficult, and have there been any positive outcomes as it relates to all of these changes?
I'd say the most difficult in our household right now. I mean, Riley's a senior, so chances she's going to miss graduation, and that's huge. The girls not being able to be with their friends, that's been a challenge for them. And so for us to kind of come alongside the girls to encourage them and to explain, know there's so much uncertainty. Nobody knows, what tomorrow holds, and just to try to lift them up, and that's kind of been one of the bigger challenges. Also, not being able to see family, our church family. Thank goodness for technology, to be able to do things just like we're doing now. To see, it's one thing to talk on the phone or to text, but to see a face, that's nice. Um, One of the positive outcomes is there's been more communication, with one another within the family. Whether it's between Audrey and I talking about whatever struggles we may be facing in during the day, um, or for the girls, and for them to talk and to encourage them to talk, um, and also accepting that you'll hear people say this: it's okay not to be okay. um, when everything was good before, we'd have our forced family fun days. And, it's like, all right, we're going to watch this movie, or we're going to do this. And, and it's because everything else was normal the other 6 days of the week. Well, here it's, if any one of the family members, they're just struggling in that day, it's okay if they just want to be separated. If they want to go hang out in their room, or they want to go outside, that's okay, and kind of that new norm. But the biggest thing is just the communication aspect is, hey, if something's going on, let's talk. Let's get it out before before it bubbles over. I was told one time everyone's got a cup, and that cup only holds so much liquid, and eventually if you don't take care of it, it's gonna spill over. And so we're trying to diminish the spillovers. And so communication has really, that's come out, and that's been pretty successful for us. I mean, we definitely have our ups and downs, but it's us being able to talk to each other, it's been very helpful.
Mm. No, that's great. No, thanks, Scott, for sharing.
Yeah.
Um, It's the other question that I know, obviously, as a police officer, and you've been serving your whole life in that capacity in Arizona and now in Wells, Maine. I'm sure you've encountered many challenging situations, but how has this one been different for you, professionally speaking, in terms of what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, this is challenging. I've worked through Y2K. They thought, the computers are going to crash, everything. I mean, we ramped up stuff in preparation for that. 9/11. This pandemic has it's got it's a whole new ball game. The one thing is it affects everybody. It's not just isolated in certain areas. It has a huge impact. That huge impact, it creates a lot of anxiety with everybody. It has anxiety with your first responders, with the frontline workers. People, their finances are at risk, their livelihood. And so one of the things that we really try to focus on, and as a supervisor, I try to um, let my the officers know is this does have a huge effect on everybody. It affects everybody a little bit different, but to have empathy, and to have a little bit more patience with people. And some people, it just comes and goes. As far as they may be good one day, but then the next day they're not. They're having a hard day. So try to just take a little bit more time with them. So there's definitely challenges, and that also, that just the line of work that I'm in, it creates additional anxiety with my own family, because when they want to make sure that I'm okay, also making sure that I'm taking proper steps, so that I don't create any issues coming home. But that goes for pretty much everybody. That our people that are working in the grocery stores, are that we live in. We're so thankful that we're here in this community going through this, compared to other places that we've lived. It's an amazing community that people look out for each other. So that's a huge blessing. And we will get through this. People just need to not lose, don't lose hope, and just keep take it one day at a time, and get through it, and we'll persevere.
Absolutely. No, that's great. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
So how has your faith helped you to cope with these changes?
It's definitely reinforced, my trust in God. I tend to be an anxious person. Just that's how I'm wired. That it's helpful, but if it can also kind of get the best of me at times. So staying just so well grounded, it's a challenge, to just, it's it's easy to trust God when things are going well, and and so just making sure that I stay in the Word, whether it's a devotional app on my phone, or we read Jesus Calling, just, or whatever, the Sunday worship, the daily gospel that you're providing. Just those little bits for us to stay grounded, because you can't trust, I get, on your own, because eventually that's going to fail. Like I mentioned, we prepare by having financial funds, set aside, rainy day funds, where, extra food. But if that fails, that's what do you have? Well, you just like you say, you can't put your trust in idols, because they're eventually they're going to fail you. God's not going to fail you. And so just being in the Word, and just having that repeated trust in God, and really that's what really, that for me, that's what helps me out. And just just being as close to God as I can, and to know that He's with me. So that's been very helpful.
That's great. That's super encouraging. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
The last question I have is there a particular Bible verse that has been helpful for you during this time, or your family?
Yeah. So Joshua 1:9, that's one that sticks with me. To not be discouraged, to be courageous, and to trust God. Years ago, we were going through a challenging time, and we reached out to our church family, and it was interesting. I still have it saved, but basically it was, we just asked people, what are your go-to Bible verses, and when things aren't going well, and we made a collection of that. And one of those, Joshua 1:9, came from those, and that always stuck with me. One of the other things that, we have Jesus Calling, and so it's the daily devotional. And one of the things that's kind of interesting for me personally is, when I open it up, I always say, all right, God, what do you have for me today? And I was, when I read it for yesterday's, it's just so fitting for what we're going through. And I'll just read it here. April 15th, and I know today is the 16th, but this was yesterday's, April 15th. And it says, trust me and don't be afraid. Many things feel out of control. Your routines are not running smoothly. You tend to feel more secure when your life is predictable. Let me lead you to the rock that is higher than you and your circumstances. Take refuge in the shelter of my wings, where you are absolutely secure. When you are shaken out of your comfortable routines, grip my hand tightly and look for growth opportunities. Instead of bemoaning the loss of your comfort, accept the challenge of something new. I lead you on from glory to glory, making fit for my kingdom. Say yes to the ways I work in your life. Trust me and don't be afraid. It's just like,
Wow.
when I ask, all right, God, what do you got for me? And it's like, wow, he's got me, and just that just confirms, knowing that God is before me, behind me, on either side of me. He's all around me. And just having those, it's, reminding myself of that. And it's not easy. There are times when, the anxiety and the worry, it grips, and how many people that you hear, yeah, my chest hurts, or I got, the anxiety is working on the body, the stress is working on the body. And in those moments, you just have to go, you just have to be close to God, to pray, to spend time. And that's why, every January I like, having margin, when you readdress that, and there's just so much. I've just experienced that in my personal life, just setting time aside, trusting in God, reading. And it's not easy. It's a challenge every day, and life is hard. Life is hard. If you're a parent, if you're, that's hard. Work is hard. It's hard. And it took a long time for Audrey and I to understand, and we thought it was all honky dory, and it's like, yeah, no, it's not. And that's, having that trust in God, and knowing that He has a plan for us, that's amazing. So.
No, that's great. Thank you so much, guys. That's super encouraging, especially when you think of, it's not like we're just going through this for a day or two or even a week, but not knowing the end right now, and just not having these safety nets, but just being reminded of our need to put our trust in God, even in these, trying and uncertain times. And so Thank you so much for everything that you shared. Just super encouraging, and really appreciate you taking the time to just share your perspective and how you guys are staying grounded in the gospel and in your faith in Christ.
Hey, you're very welcome.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, thanks. See ya.